I'll remind you that World War II was caused by competition. It was people competing for more and more and more, and of course that is what's happening today. The influx of more people means that there's more competition and there's less resources to go around, and of course that means that I don't get as much as I want, or we don't get as much as we want. And the end result of that is people steal, people threaten, people commit genocide, people commit war. They all want what they want. And of course that's what Russia wants, and that's what China wants, and that's what Americans want, and that's what Israel wants, and everybody else. So you're looking at a world that wants more, a finite world that cannot give more. And the cost of that is that we have to make different decisions. We have to do differently. And our best chance for different is women. Believe it or not, because they are different. They're not better, but they are different. And so we have to let them try. If they will try. Doesn't mean they will. That just means that our option, or our best option for a change in this planet, is women. So think about that, and organize that, and do what you can for that, because it is our best hope. Whether you like it or not doesn't matter. Whether I like it or not doesn't matter. It's not we cannot go on as we are. If you're taking too much, you're destroying too much, you're leaving poisons everywhere, you're stealing from the future, you're killing every child and every life on earth. That's the truth of it. So you have to make a different decision. And do you trust Putin with nuclear bombs? Do you? Remind him and remind his nation that if you let one go, you are going to be second to die. Your nation is going to be the first to die. Your world is going to die, and so will ours, because that's the price of weapons of mass destruction. And in fact, all it takes is one of the universities to release one of their biological weapons. That's all it takes. That's what you built. That's what you said is our savior. As liars always do. And then of course there's always the claim of artificial intelligence is going to make this world better. But of course they're just going to put it in robotic armies and lead you to the slaughterhouse instead. That's what they're for. That's what they're about. Because the universities, they want you to die so that they can live, but they don't want to do any work for themselves, so they need an army of robots to do it for them. And that's what they're trying to build. And that's what they're trying to do. Now, do you trust Trump with a nuclear bomb? Should you? No. Should you trust China with a nuclear bomb? No. Should you trust anybody in this planet with a nuclear bomb? The answer is no. And the only way to get rid of them is for world law and international policing. That's something that we must do. And we must create limited capitalism. Capitalism means you have to create your own, you do your own work. You have to create your own life. It's not up to me to provide for you. It's up to you to provide for you. And it's up for society to give you a chance. So, these are things that are required. If you don't do limited capitalism, you will just war, because there won't be enough and we won't share and so on. You have to do that too. And you have to do a redress of grievances, because the power of this nation, the power of this world, doesn't want anything to do with fair play. History proves that. They do not want anything to do with justice, because that removes the game. Fair play removes their reward of pride and power. They don't want that. But they do want to believe anything they want to believe, and of course their belief is always wrong. And religion, of course, wants to believe anything it wants to believe, but there too commonly wrong. But, they have a book. But the book was written by men. It's in the language of men. It's interpreted by men. It's conceived of by you as a man or woman. How perfect is that? It can't be perfect because it's not made out of things that are perfect. It can't be perfect. So you get a choice. Fix it now, because you have no further excuses left. You really don't. The U.S. has chosen Trump so that they can get back what they want. But what you want is a world where you never have to pay the consequences of what you do, where you never have to consider the future of what life will be because of you. There's endless things that are all wrong. Lies cover it all up, and media, of course, produces the lies and expands them with entertainment, so that you do not understand the basic realities of life and living. We have to do better. And of course, it really doesn't matter, because you can't blame the universities or the people there or the government, people in government so much, because the end result is everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants more. Everybody wants power. Everybody wants pride. I'm the winner. And you got to make a loser to be a winner. So I didn't find hardly anybody that would avoid greed. And those tiny few who did were confronted with greed and the war to take everything from anybody who would let them. And that was a problem too. So, lots and lots of greed. Lots and lots of everything. And you can thank Eluda Salemi for this particular remark, that all the nations, if you came to America, for instance, and you were not a citizen 7 years later, as is the time frame to become a citizen here, or you're not working on that in some form or fashion, then you don't belong here. Go back home. Because we need to separate and divide the different groups so that you cannot attack yourselves, or if you do, it's attacking yourselves. Otherwise, as always the case in human history, people are going to attack the other group, try to kill them off to reduce the competition so they can have more. Well, that's not going to work. You have to stop doing that, or we end up as a extinct planet. You have to stop the universities from trying to ignite atoms on fire with their delusions and fantasies and imagination. None of it is real, and they know. I've explained it to them to some degree, or provided the information that they needed for certainly true. But that doesn't make me right, but it does make them wrong. And there is a real difference there. So, the price of being wrong is the planet turns into a sun. You say that can't be so, but it can. Take a look. The sun is out there. The sun exists, and that means it can exist here, because the end result is the sun burns atoms. That's how it releases its heat. It burns atoms. And atoms spin. That's how they create power inside. That's what the atomic power is. It's a proton mass spinning inside a neutron, which holds it in place, keeps it from outer space, so that it is contained for long term. And when they're pushed together, they rub each other, and the friction creates heat, and the friction creates radiation, and the friction releases the dark energy that is the neutron that holds it together, because a spinning atom has mass, and a spinning atom, when you just like taking a rock and spinning it around with a rope, it has the intent to leave, and it takes something anchored to the rope, a dark energy, a reverse energy, or opposite energy, to hold that spin in place. You can't just, demand that it's going to stay here. It's not going to stay there. It has to have a force that holds it in place. And so the burning of an atom on the sun releases that energy, that negative energy or dark energy or whatever you want to call it, and that becomes solar gravity. That's where solar gravity comes from. That's how come their claim that, there's not enough gravity here on Earth to sustain the fire is completely ludicrous. Solar gravity comes from the fire. And of course, mutilating all of nature to play God is an insanity beyond comprehension. In other words, grow up, wake up, find a brain somewhere that you can use. Find your own. Find one. Search. Do something.